Seba Fitu, welcome back to another video. Right now it's about 11:15 p.m. I'm stuck. I'm really stuck. I've gotten to understand that some of the smartest developers, actually, even the most of the developers that I know, actually get stuck. And it makes you realize that getting stuck doesn't care if you're a beginner or you've been in the industry for the longest of time. We just somehow found ourselves in a situation where we're not moving. It's either you get stuck because there's something that you're not understanding clearly, you get stuck because of a bug, you get stuck because something is not working the way you were expecting it to work. Like, it actually has nothing to do with your intelligence that you're stuck. It's just a matter of being stuck. Food for thought. Anyways, welcome back to those that are regulars, and welcome back to those who will be regulars in the near future. And let's just dive into why smart developers still get stuck. Okay, so firstly, I'm starting to think this is more psychological first before it becomes an actual problem. Like, I'm thinking from a South African context. Growing up, I've always been told that you have one opportunity. You shouldn't mess it up. Like, make it count. Opportunities don't come twice. If you get where I'm going with this, like, if you get that shot at that job or at that project or at that promotion, you don't want to waste it. So that pressure turns into overthinking because you don't want to be seen failing, if you know what I mean. So I think this is where the psychology part gets into it, and then now it starts playing a psychological, it becomes embedded in your mind, man. And now just think beyond, growing up in Africa as a whole. I think the story is familiar across the whole world, not even to South Africans. Many of us are first into the tech space, are first in the family, if you know what I mean. Are first to earning dollars and in rand or in rands, or earn big bucks in tech. Let me just put it like that. So failure doesn't feel personal; it feels collective. So basically, what you do, you start to hesitate, not because you can't build, not because you can't achieve it, not because you can't accomplish it, not because you cannot figure out how to build it by yourself, but it's because how much depends on you. Think about it. Like, just literally think about it, man. Like, most of us have families, that depend on us, extended families that depend on us. I can go on and on and on, man. Like, it's the same pressure globally. Different countries, different countries, same pressure. If you mess it up, what does it say about me? It's like, now, like, it's a reflection point. What does it say about my intelligence? When you think about it, that's when being smart actually becomes heavy. Like, it becomes something that feels like a curse. Crazy when you think about it. But it's not crazy because now that whole process is embedded in your mind. Okay, so point number one, this should be simple. Shouldn't be a big problem, but we make it a big problem. When you think about it, overthinking. I'm an overthinker by nature. So overthinking kills the momentum. The reason why I got stuck to begin with is because I was thinking about edge cases. I was thinking about other developers. I was thinking about my code. I was thinking about a whole lot of things. That what if this method is not good enough? What if this method, the person that's going to use it will use it in a different way that I'm actually using it now? So I'm thinking about reusability. There's just a lot that goes into my mind, and I'm like, damn, man. Like, I feel like it's the most responsible thing to do for me to write the code that could be used by someone else. But I end up forgetting that at the end of the day, imperfect solutions are already in production. Like there's a lot of crappy code that is in production. Yet here I am overthinking about edge cases. Point number two: perfectionism is disguised as good engineering. Buffet, do you know how this thing goes? Like, you always want to be perfect. You want to make sure that whatever you build needs to be perfect. We don't just call it perfectionism, we call it standards. Some of us, we have coding standards. We even forget how much coding standards become a stumbling block. Like right now, I could have been done with the problem, fixing or doing or sorting out the problem. But what I've been doing, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about the standard, which is also part of overthinking. It's like, man, I don't know how to put this, but if we become honest, most clarity doesn't come from planning. Like, you don't plan, something to be successful. I think it comes from shipping. So the more you ship whatever you have into, production, the more you would get feedback. And that's the most important thing. Building in progress, like building. If you did this with the wrong standard, it's fine. You'll do a refactor later, as long as it works, as long as it achieves its purpose. But we don't focus on that because we're thinking doesn't conform to the standard. So point number three: too much knowledge, not enough constraints. I feel like most of us consume a lot of information. Like, for example, the reason why I got stuck, I was reading on something, I ended up extracting a library, going through the code. I mean, it's all nice and stuff, it's great. But, you know, it looks like all this information that I'm consuming, that I'm taking in, I don't know when to say stop. And now that knowledge ends up becoming noise because I end up losing focus on what I'm supposed to achieve. I think, to sum it up, like, constraints forces you to make decisions, and decisions create momentum. It helps you go forward. I think that's the solution. Like boundaries. If you don't have boundaries in you learning, in you going to research something, you all the information that you'll be taking in will end up being noise, and you won't be productive. Anyways, moving on to point number three. Learning feels like progress. Yeah, learning feels like progress, right? Like the more I learn, the more I feel like I'm making progress. I think because learning feels more safe, and then delivering or shipping on pushing stuff to production feels risky. But growth lives on the risky side. I always say that everything that you ever wanted is on the other side of fear. Remember, where there's risk, there's fear. So it's up to you how you look at it. Don't fear your code to break in production. You're not the first one, and you're probably not gonna be the last. There's a whole lot of people that have had code break into production. There's a lot of merge requests that were approved by team leads that broke in production. But what happened after that? There was growth. There was growth. Growth is progress. Learning is part of progress, but don't spend too much time learning without using what you're learning, because what you would have learned would have become noise. Damn. So, point number five: the fear of feeling stupid. I want to laugh, but I don't want to laugh at the same time because, smart people fear being wrong in public. I've seen this a couple of times with merge requests. When somebody grills you with your code, like you don't like it because that person makes you feel stupid. I think this is what makes us to be stuck. I'm thinking, what if when I'm going through a merge request, or pull request, um, Teams meeting or code review session, someone just grills me and say that I wrote crappy code. So because of that, sometimes we just wait. We wait. And I think that waiting is what puts us in a situation of being stuck. But yeah, I think moving on to the part 6 or point 6. I think also, the more you accumulate experience, the more you become a dev. Like you you become known that, no, that guy is a dev. You have an identity trap. And this is all of these guys that I'm telling you is part of overthinking. An identity trap is there. Because you feel like, I should know this. I shouldn't struggle. Like, I shouldn't be struggling with this. This is something that Junior could solve. Wait, this is something a Junior could come and ask me for help with. Like, I should be able to fix or make this thing work. Like, I should be good doing things like so. But we forget that the major thing about struggling is that it's part of building real things. Like, if you don't struggle, then it's not good enough. I saw something about Linus the other day when he mentioned that, he vibe codes for things that don't matter. Okay, let me not cause a fight. But anyway, okay, last but not least, how did I decide that I'm going to get unstuck? I decided to shoot a video. That's what I'm doing now. But while I'm shooting, I'm then learning, how do I decide to get stuck? I was also researching, how do I get unstuck? And getting getting unstuck isn't about learning more, because I was reading. So I think I was reading as part of me consuming more information, but it's more about deciding sooner, deciding to take this video and edit it, ship it soon, be wrong faster. Like, I'd rather get someone who's gonna comment down below and say, bro, this is trash. You were not supposed to put this and that and that and that, because that's where the learning comes in. You getting unstuck comes into you putting aside a lot of things. The most important thing is momentum. But anyways, if this felt personal, it probably was. You can leave a comment down below in the comment section. You can comment, actually, you can comment where you're from. I mean, like, which country, so that I know we are all struggling together globally in the tech space. And subscribe for more. Cheers. See you in the next one.